So we're saying goodbye to Zoe. She's been fantastic in the commentary box today. And I think you're out on a launch tomorrow at some point.
I think I'm in the comms box, in the control box tomorrow.
Control box tomorrow. So you will hear Zoe back on the line tomorrow. She's done a fantastic job today, and I'm joined now by Samuel Nicklin of Sir William Borlase Boat Club, a junior rower in the local area, who I'm sure will have a lot to say on some of the junior events which are coming up a little later. But as it stands, we've got the championship singles back underway. It's Thames Rowing Club. I think it's Diana Edgerton Warburton. That's quite the name, on the Berkshire station, and another Sydney University sculler, Fiona Ewing, on the Buckinghamshire station. As they come down the course here, Samuel, it's the sculler from Sydney who has control of this one.
Both looking quite relaxed as they move past our commentary tower, though.
Yeah, I think it's quite easy actually to look quite startled and quite flustered in a single, but both scullers doing a pretty good job here. And I'm pretty sure it's Fiona of Sydney University. She's competed at the under-23 World Championships in the 8 and regularly features in under-23 squads, so a very capable athlete indeed. Diana is 41. I don't mean to bring her age into it, but she raced for Israel at the 2014 Lucerne World Cup, finishing 16th in the women's double scull, so she's no stranger to this course. And she's raced in the women's double in 2015 for, I think, a crew from Belgium. And this year she's competing for Thames Rowing Club, so a sculler with a hell of a lot of experience and a lot of form.
And it appears to me as if the sculler from Sydney is using her power to get the 2-length advantage over the sculler from Thames. Their technique seems to be quite similar.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment actually. Reasonably similar technique, but perhaps just more horsepower on board the Sydney sculler, on board with the Sydney sculler even. And she's opened up, well, a substantial lead now, I would say. Any coming back from that?
I think it's unlikely. Anything can happen there in the single.
Well, you can capsize for a kick-off, can't you? That's a pretty devastating way to end your Henley Women's Regatta experience, but little fear of that happening to either of these scullers. They've, I imagine, been in single sculls plenty of times and know what this course is all about. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, if you make the trip from Sydney, you've got to back yourself. You must reckon you're pretty strong and pretty able to cope with the various demands. So we'll move back up to the start for the second heat. We'll make this the 6th heat of the Championship Single Sculls, contested between Nottingham University on the Berkshire station and Cambridge University women on the Buckinghamshire station. Cambridge University sculler Tricia Smith, she raced in the bow seat of the winning Cambridge Blue Boat this year, and she studied natural sciences at university. Tricia Smith, a very, very capable athlete indeed, with plenty of experience. Always interesting to see the Cambridge girls switch over to sculling for the Henley Women's Regatta. We've seen a couple of doubles come down the course already today and progress, as far as I'm aware. But at the moment, she is trailing the sculler from Nottingham University. Just seeing Imogen North in that green kit, the yellow visor. Making her way down the course. At the moment, she's got control of this one. Fantastic drone shot, just illuminating for us exactly what's happening. Nowhere to hide for either of these scullers, and indeed nowhere to hide for Tricia Smith, who at the moment has a lot of work to do to come back on terms with Imogen. I'd say there's clear water between those two crews now. So you're a sculler, Samuel.
Yeah.
How well are these two doing?
I have to say the sculler from Nottingham seems to be slightly more relaxed on the way up, letting the boat glide a bit more, whereas the sculler from Cambridge seems to be making it slightly harder work for herself. Obviously both very able athletes, doing an incredible job.
So I assume it's a relation. I'm just looking at some of the comments on our YouTube stream, and Adele Ewing, apologies if I'm pronouncing that surname wrong, but I've had a couple of comments from you. I imagine you're a relation of Fiona, and she obviously won her heat of the championship singles, so congratulations to you. But the focus at the moment is certainly on Nottingham University and Tricia Smith of Cambridge University Boat Club. I think every stroke, it's a war of attrition here for Imogen. Every stroke, she's just eating out a bit more of a lead. I think if you look at Tricia there in the background of your picture, a little bit more hunched over, perhaps a little bit more fatigue in the legs. She looks a little bit more tired. So as we keep one eye on that race, we'll turn the other up to the start for race 58, another heat of the championship single sculls, contested between USR Triton of the Netherlands and Cambridge University women. Again, Imogen Grant on the Buckinghamshire station. Imogen, a fantastic sculler in her own right. 2 times winner of the boat race for Cambridge once again, and was in the winning crew this year. And she actually raced for GB at the most recent World Cup in Belgrade, finishing 4th in the lightweight women's single scull. So she's a lightweight, but that doesn't appear to be having any effect on her ability to move a boat today, because as you can see from our shots there, she's already got clear water on her opponent from the Netherlands.
I actually took a trip over to Amsterdam this spring to compete in the Heineken Cup, and I must say the setup that the scullers and rowers over in Amsterdam have is quite incredible, and it's unsurprising to see a multitude of rowers and scullers coming over here to Henley Women's Regatta and competing at such a high level.
Well, they do bring an armada with them every time they come across. We've got a lot of entries into the Royal as well, from Neerhouse and Njord and even Laha, and the Dutch national team quite often make the trip. But at the moment, the sculler from the Netherlands is getting soundly beaten out by Imogen. She's a bright young thing, Imogen Grant. Hope for the future for GB lightweight sculling. Moving the boat very, very well, which you'd expect of a lightweight. I think for what they miss out on actual horsepower, they make up for in technical proficiency, and that's a lovely sight.
And as they come past us here in the commentary box, the sculler from Cambridge appears to have a more sequenced stroke, just finishing off with a bit more power, whereas the sculler from the Netherlands seems to be doing everything at once. It's a more continuous stroke. 2 different styles of rowing.
And you're right, quite disparate in themselves, and perhaps that's demonstrating why at the moment Imogen has the advantage. I think there's just that little bit more efficiency through the water, which can be crucial at Henley, especially if the weather gets involved. It's not all about lugging it down the course. Although today we are blessed with nigh on perfect conditions. We can just see the conclusion of the race prior to this one, which was a second heat of the championship single sculls. The result of the first heat that we spoke about between Thames Rowing Club and Sydney University. So Imogen will be looking to progress because Tricia Smith, her crewmate at the boat race this year, has been beaten by Imogen North of Nottingham University. But I think at this stage I'd pretty much put my house on Imogen progressing. She looks like she's taking the rate down a little bit, which is rare for a lightweight, and is the dominant force in this third heat of the championship single sculls. Up next we've got our fourth, and in the whole programme our eighth heat of the aforementioned event, contested between Thames Rowing Club on the Berkshire Station and Molesey Boat Club on the Buckinghamshire Station. And that's just got off the start. Thames on the left-hand side of your picture and Molesey on the right. Both crews staying nice and far apart. I like to see that. Don't want any clashes that could spoil the spectacle. Ella Lewick competing for Molesey. She was the first Estonian to row in the boat race in 2016. I believe she rowed for Oxford University, but she'll be representing Molesey Boat Club at Henley. She finished 5th on the Saturday and 3rd on the Sunday of the Met Regatta 3 weeks ago. So she's obviously been ramping up to this event, and I'm sure she'll be hoping to progress. At Thames Rowing Club, every time they put a crew out, I find myself more often than not pronouncing them the winners at the end of that race. And as the crews just come up to our static camera and pass it at pace, I think Thames might have a slight lead, although it's very difficult to call at this stage. Good race, this one, Samuel.
Yeah, very close as they come towards us here. Nothing between them.
It's so hard, I imagine, when you are side by side with 400, 500 meters gone. Do you stick to your race plan?
I think sometimes you have to push just to shake the opposition. But at the end of the day, it's about going as fast as you can from point A to point B, and if you do go for the push halfway through, you might pay for it later.
Absolutely. Especially in the singles, psychologically, it's as much a mind game as it is a physical game.
Yeah, particularly.
And singles can go, as Zoe made the point earlier, from 0 to 100 very, very fast.
Yeah.
And actually you can pick up a single pretty dramatically in the middle of a race, and I think a push from one sculler can actually end another sculler's race, whereas in an 8, that doesn't tend to happen. So this race finely poised as they come down the course. It does look like the sculler from Molesey has moved out a little bit. I think she's trying to break clear of Thames.
Singles can also go from 100 to 0 pretty quickly though.
Very
And
true.
if you push too hard in the middle of the race, you might row yourself to a standstill by the end here.
Well, the classic was watching Mahe Drysdale against Hannah Sobrano at the 2016 Henley Royal Regatta, and Mahe pushed so hard in the middle of the course, I think he just burnt out
Yeah.
coming into the enclosures and was almost at a standstill crossing the line. So let's hope that fate doesn't befall either of these scullers, but I think they look in control of this one. It looks so serene rowing, but in the boat it's anything but.
Even the light breeze we're seeing today is probably troubling quite a few of these scullers.
Yeah, absolutely. Deceptively clean from where we're sat, but on the water, I imagine, with the wash and the chop produced by Pleasure Craft and other scullers and other rowers coming up to the start, can be a tricky test of your initiative and your nerve. But we'll keep an eye on that one as Ella Lewick of Molesey Boat Club looks to become the fourth, or rather